There are some new functions in Excel 2013. We're going to take a look at two of them. There's a Sheets function that tells us how many sheets are in a reference or in a workbook. And there is a Sheet function that will tell us the sheet number for a specific sheet. We can use both of these functions to do some troubleshooting and to spot hidden sheets or other problems in a workbook. So we'll take a look at the Sheets function first. And one thing it can do is tell you how many sheets are in a workbook. So if I click in this cell and type equal sheets and then open and close the bracket. So there is a reference that you can use, but I'm going to omit that. It's optional. And if I press enter, it tells me how many sheets are in the workbook. So if you don't put in a reference, it gives you the number of sheets in the entire workbook. And we can see down at the bottom there are 8 tabs. So it's done a correct count. Now we'll see what happens if we hide a sheet. I'm going to right click on the lists sheet and click hide. If I go back to the original formula, it's still showing 8 sheets. So that's one way you can use it for troubleshooting. If the number of sheets that you can see doesn't match the number of sheets in the workbook, you know that something's been hidden and you can look for it and then hide it. The Sheets function can also tell us how many sheets are in a 3D reference. So I'm going to create one here. I'll type equal sheets, open bracket. I want to get totals from departments 1 through department 3. So I'm going to click on department 1. Hold the Shift key and click on Department 3, and all 3 of those sheets are now selected. Then I'll click on this Total for Expenses 1, close the bracket. We can see there's a 3D reference now. It's referring to 3 different sheets, cell I4. I'll press Enter, and now it's telling me that there are 3 sheets in that 3D reference, so Department 1, 2, and 3. So that's correct. Then we'll see how we can use that to do a little more troubleshooting. So I know how many sheets there are, but I could test how many entries there are in those 3 sheets. So I want to be able to add up what's in cell I4, but does each sheet have something in that cell? So again, I'll create a 3D reference, and this time I'm going to use count A as the function. So equals count A, open bracket. Then click on Department 1, Shift and click on Department 3, and click on cell I4. Close the bracket and press Enter. And there are only 2 entries in those 3 sheets, so that tells us that there's something missing. So here I could type a formula that just subtracts one cell from the other, and that tells us we've got one value missing, so I could go and fix that. So those are some of the ways we can use the Sheets function to do troubleshooting. The other function is Sheet, and it will tell us a sheet number. So here, if I would like to get the sheet number for the sheet that I'm on, I can use equal sheet, open bracket, and there's a value that I can enter. If I leave that blank, it's optional, so I'll close the bracket, press Enter, and it tells me the number of the active sheet. And if I look down at the sheet tabs, there's 1 and 2, so this is the second sheet. So I know nothing has been hidden in the sheets that come before this one. We can also use it to find out the sheet number for a cell reference. So in here, I'll type equal sheet, open bracket, and then I'll click on a cell on Department 3 sheet. Close the bracket, press Enter, and it tells me that is on sheet 7. So if I check the tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there is a sheet hidden in the sheets before this one. So I'd know I'd have to unhide something if I want to see all the sheets. We can also use the Sheet function to find out the sheet number that a named table is on. And one of the sheet tabs says Hidden Lists, and if I look at that, there is a table there. If I click on that table, click on the ribbon, I can see its name here, TBL Regions. So I'll go back to the Sheet tab, and I'll type equal sheet, open bracket, and then I'll start typing the name, TBL, and it shows the things that match that, so I can press the Tab key to fill that in, close the bracket, and it tells me that's on sheet 8. If you have named ranges, it can also tell you the sheet that those are on. So if I look at my formulas and the name manager, I can see there are some named ranges, so we can find out where the month list named range is. So I'll click in here, type equal sheet, open bracket, then I'll type the name of that range, month, select it from the list and press Tab, close the bracket, and it shows the sheet number for that range. And we'll look at another thing we can do with the sheet function. So I have a list of all the sheets in this workbook. I can use the sheet function to find the sheet number for each of these sheet names. And to do that, I'll use sheet with the indirect function. So in here, I'll type equal sheet and then indirect. The indirect function we can use to create a reference based on text. So I'm going to tell it to create a reference using the sheet name and then ampersand, which will join that with some other text. And I'll put in double quotes, an exclamation mark, that marks the end of a sheet name, and A1, double quotes, and then a bracket for indirect, and another one to close the sheet function. And this should tell me what sheet number is this sheet name, cell A1. So when I press enter, it tells me that sheets is sheet 1. And then I can double click here in the fill handle to copy that down for each of the other sheets. So once I have those sheet numbers, I'm able to sort this list alphabetically if I'd like. I can go to the Data tab and sort the names A to Z, so I'd be able to see where each sheet is, or I can sort them numerically so they're in the sheet order. So with the new sheet and sheets functions in Excel 2013, you can do some troubleshooting based on sheet number and the number of sheets. For more Excel tips and tutorials, and to download the sample file for this video, please visit my Contextures website at www.contextures.com.